Locked in.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Snorri Valleys Council meeting, Thursday, the 20th of November, 2025. We have no one in the public forum. I'd like to, Snorri Valleys Council proudly acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of this land and water and pay respects to their elders past and present. This meeting is being live streamed on Council's website to allow the community to follow Council debates and decisions. Member of the public participating in a meeting agreed to have their image, voice, personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Snorri Valleys Council does not accept liability for any defamatory remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of the meeting. Any part of the meeting that is held in closed session will not be streamed. Councillors are reminded of the oath or affirmation of office they made under Section 233A of the Local Government Act 1993 and the obligation of the Council's Code of Conduct to disclose and appropriately manage conflicts of interest. Please ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or are in silent mode for the duration of the meeting, and no recording of voice or images is permitted by mobile phones or other electronic devices while in the room. In the event of an emergency, please evacuate the building using the nearest exit and follow the instructions by warden. Do not use the lift. And we have no one participating virtually today. Apologies and leave of absence. We have no apologies. Councillor Larder will be coming in shortly. We do have two pecuniary interest declarations.
Madam Mayor, I declare a non-pecuniary, non-significant interest in item 11.5 in relation to the ongoing renewal of the lease for the radio station, being that I am a non-executive member of the Montreal Community Theatre Inc. I will be staying in the room and voting.
And Madam Mayor, I declare a non-pecuniary but significant interest in the same matter, so I'll leave the room rather than.
Okay.
Because I'm on the executive committee of that organisation.
Thank you. Any other pecuniary interests? All those in favour? Oh. They have to move? No. Great. Confirmation of the minutes from the ordinary council meeting on the 16th of October. Do I have a mover? Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Sheldon.
No,
Councillor Packard. Correction. Councillor Thompson.
I wasn't aware that there's Councillor Sheldon seems to feel there's a correction somewhere.
well, no, I just wanted some clarification actually. On the meeting times and locations.
Within the minutes.
Within the minutes, yes.
Okay, so what motion are you looking at?
I think it's 8.1 or is that many around that? Whereas I think Councillor Hayes and Councillor Larter.
Page 15, 10.4. You're talking about in the minutes, 8.1.
In the minutes.
8.1.
Yeah, there's some confusion because I know Councillor Inglis and Councillor Sheldon voted against it in regarding to locations, whereas the other two voted against it in regarding to times. And I'm just only, should we actually be specifying the reason why they voted against it, or is it just a vote against it?
It's just a vote against.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sheldon.
Clarifying.
Councillor Thompson, are you now happy with the minutes? All other councillors, all those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Correspondence and petitions. We have none of those. Then we come to the mural minutes. Pull that up. Thank you. First one is just to note the mural minute update of the drought conditions affecting Snorri Valleys, and there's a map there which does show the concerns that I have, particularly when you look out here in Tumut. It's not too bad. Tumbarumba's okay, but as you go down, particularly towards Cancoban, it is quite dire, and that seems to be that band coming across from South Australia, Victoria into the lower part of New South Wales. So yesterday I had the privilege of meeting with the Premier and the Minister, the Honourable Tara Murray Arty, to talk about the drought. And I met with the Mayor from Greater Hume, Lee Parker, and we suggested things like the freight subsidies for stock and fodder, dollar for dollar support for water infrastructure, assistance with LLL rates, support for small businesses, because certainly towns like Hancoban and Tumbarumba begin to feel the pain of producers not having much money. Increased funding for rural financial counselling services, drought-related road infrastructure support to councils, because there's a lot more trucks on the road with fodder. New South Wales government to work with the government to declare drought as a natural disaster, and then an independent review of the RA applications. There were two notes of joy in the fact that in the Ready and Resilient loan, which is a New South Wales loan for producers that need equipment to help be more resilient in drought, or maybe even to build a dam or clean out a dam, they've dropped the interest rate by 1%, which down to 3.98. And the other good news is a drought coordinator for the area has been appointed, and the name of the person will soon be released. But that is somebody that will be able to work with producers to help them. At the moment, we're in spring, not looking too bad. By the end of summer, it may be a different story. And certainly we said to the Premier, if it hasn't really rained decently by the end of March, we are all going to be in dire straits as producers. So he said, well, please come back and revisit him there. So I thought it was, and I really think it should be noted, appreciated that the Premier would take the time to meet with the mayors to talk about this. Any comments from any other councillors on this matter?
Madam Mayor, only that I note that this morning the Wagga for the member for Steph Cook.
Oh, yep.
Cootamundra was actually on the radio speaking about this and identified the fact that what makes it extremely difficult is that the producers doing it toughest don't need a loan. They actually need greater support, whether it's in relation to the subsidies for the roads and just so a lot more than just that loan, which I didn't get the feeling that they thought that the 1% reduction was a great win. They were actually quite insulted that they don't understand the difference between people don't have money and to have to borrow money and then owe more money back continues the impact on our producers. So
yeah,
it was interesting.
She's been a fantastic advocate for us. Used to be so. Councillor Sheldon.
I actually think a lot of people aren't looking at, but that the drought does flow through to the economy of small towns like us, our retailers, and everyone within that, their economic circle. And I think everyone's got to just take it in mind that everyone is suffering, not just the farmers. It impacts on the wider community.
And that's a community that's already under the cost of living pressure.
That's exactly right.
So it's just exasperating it. Yep.
And I can say, just out of interest, I was talking to our accountant this morning, and they've got a rather large accountancy, and they were saying most regional rural businesses are really feeling it. It's their income in the past 12 months has dropped substantially.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Hardwick.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to note, with the engagement with the New South Wales government, speaking to the Premier, was there any movement in relation to support for financial assistance grants for regional and rural councils at all?
Look, the previous week, country mayors met, and the Premier actually spoke at that, and he did, because that, of course, is a federal funding. What he said of interest there was agreeance that there wasn't enough money for councils. But he also pointed out that for every dollar spent within New South Wales at the moment, the GST of that $1, 83 cents comes back to New South Wales. If you're in Victoria, $1.07 goes to Victoria. And he pleaded with us all, there was 90 mayors there, to please start working with the Commonwealth to say we need parity there, because New South Wales is doing it tough financially all round.
Don't talk to Western Australia then.
No, that's right.
No. No, it was very interesting. So, okay, thank you for that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Sheldon, all those in favour? And the second one is just to formally acknowledge and commend the outstanding efforts of community members, volunteers, organisations and supporters in the recent events held across the Snorri Valleys. I'm going to read out what I've been involved in. If there's anything else that councillors would like to add, I'd be very happy to do that. And as a council, as the mayor, I will write to these people and just say what a difference they're making to our community. So the Tumbarumba Garden Festival was fabulous. So I think it's their 26th year. It was excellent. And part of that was the Tumbarumba Taste Buds, which was with the local vignerons and winemakers. There was the official opening of Harvest Haven in Tumbarumba, which is incredibly well run and productive community garden. Then there was the opening of the Gudja Gudja Narigo Cultural Reserve, which is at Murray's Crossing. I remember when Councillor Hayes and I were there and turned the first sod, probably about 6 years ago. That was very well supported. The Batlow Gala Festival, lovely to see the Batlow Gala Festival happening again. People talking about what it was like in their youth. Even one of the Batlow princesses or whatever her name was, she was there now in her 70s, I think. Anyway, and it was very Apple Blossom Queen. That's who it was. So it was just lovely to have Councillor Wirtz there and Councillor Hardwick, and also our Chief Financial Officer to support the event. It was great. Very proud to be able to speak at the Glow celebration at Tumbarumba High School, which showcased female. It was all about enriching females and building their self-confidence as they're at that teenage level, and showcase just how successful, and I know it's the same with Tumut High, some of the alumni are, well, a lot of the alumni are, but showcasing that of what people do achieve after school. And then it was fantastic to participate in the Snorri Valley Cycle Challenge. Councillor Hayes and I were both there, but to ride down that Grahamstown Road down to the highway and back again, what a spectacular route. And it was such a well-run event by Tumut Rotary and the other Rotary clubs. So thank you to all involved. Councillors, anyone else an event to mention?
Just in particular, Bruce Giles's efforts on the Cycle Classic is outstanding.
Yeah, great.
And Madam Mayor, just I think it's nice to acknowledge the council does recognise Remembrance Day and participates where we can across the Snowy Valleys, and just that somebody from the Friends at Stockwell Gardens contacted me and said how grateful they were that council went down, had morning tea, and so very, very grateful to have been acknowledged in that way.
Thank you. Okay. All those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, number 8, notice of rescission, M25825, notion of motion to 2026 council meeting times and location. And so the recommendation is that council rescind the motion, being having standard meeting times with the meetings to commence at 3, subject to the above being adopted. The following notice of motion is proposed that council have standard monthly meeting times with meetings to commence at 1 p.m. So that rescission motion has been supported by Councillor Thompson, Councillor
Councillor Inglis.
Councillor Inglis, sorry, Councillor Packard and Councillor Sheldon. Do we
Want
have?
me to speak?
Yes.
All right, look, I listened and I took on board last month where it went across and sorry.
Could I just say, so you're moving and can I have a
I'm moving.
seconder?
Is there a seconder?
Oh, yeah.
Councillor Packard. Okay, I beg your pardon, Councillor Sheldon.
Right. I've listened right the way across the board. The thing is, and I'll say it straight out, there seemed to be very little interest in the people that actually moving it back, it actually does affect their workspace, moving it back to 3 o'clock. When we signed up for this, we signed up for 12 months. There wasn't a problem. We put ourselves out of our You know, for me, I spend 2.5 days a week on council work in between my own occupation. What this particularly, although council meeting starting at the 2 o'clock for the agenda review and then moving into the council meeting, it still impacts on me at 3 o'clock because from between 2 and 3 in my line of business, it's the busiest time of a day for us. I understand the other two. I understand Councillor Hardwick, but even Councillor Hardwick came in today. He is fortunate enough, he's on shift work. At the moment, he is working 6 to 6. I understand Andrew Wirt's predicament being a sole trader also, but from what I understand, Andrew does get assistance. Well, it's the same with us. Although I do get assistance, it does greatly impact on the running of our business. And I do believe with the new meeting times, we're going to need far more time than is being allocated with the new rules by council's code of meeting. So I am asking councillors to sit back and have a look at it. The other thing we've got to consider, moving it further back in the day can actually affect the welfare of some of the staff that aren't on the executive salaries. They might get toil or they might get overtime, but we've got to look at impacting on them. Now we look at the EA of the GM. She starts on a council day, very early in the day, and she doesn't conclude until well after a council meeting is finished. So if we're looking at here and we go to 7 or 8 o'clock at night, or if we go from 5 hours, 8 o'clock, then the EA might have another hour's worth of work cleaning up. Now, it might sound funny, but we are paid to do a job. We signed up to do that job. We all agreed to do it, but we're impacting on the welfare of those that aren't given that. You know, like the CFO, then there's Christian. There are a few employees that it can impact, and we have to look after their welfare also. I know that Councillor Inglis has a job, and I'm sure he would like to talk to it, and I think Councillor Packard would like to talk about it. And then if we go right the way through it, by the time we finish, we've had a very long day. So I don't think we're going to be giving the role of a councillor acting at the prime take up or comprehension of motions, whereas I think Councillor Packard meant we do your best thinking earlier on in the day. So,
Thank you, Councillor Sheldon. Anyone against? Councillor Hardwick?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I was quite disappointed to see the notice of rescission in the business paper, given that we'd gone through the democratic process to decide the start times of the last council meetings, and now that we're spending more time on it again to go through the same conversation. I will reiterate what I said in the last council meeting, is that I do believe the earlier start time isolate the type of people that can attend council meetings. Now, yes, Councillor Sheldon mentioned that I'm on shift work at the moment, but he forgot to mention that it's night shift work. I actually start at 6 p.m. and start at 6 a.m. And that was for the short period of time at the moment. I left work this morning at 6 o'clock. I went home, I got about 4 hours sleep. Then I got in the car and I drove over here to do this council meeting. I'm tired and I've gone through a lot, but I'm not going to let that impact my decision-making on this. So I don't believe that the later start times or working later into the evening should affect a councillor's ability to look at each individual notion as it comes up and ask themselves the question, does this impact my local area? Does this impact my community? Is it going to have a positive change or a negative change? And that's how we need to look at each motion going forward, regardless of the times that we start. The latest start times last year, well, for the last 12 months, have been 4 p.m. in Tumut and 2 p.m. in Tumbarumba. And those times have worked really well for me personally. And it gives people, workers and students and those who study the ability to finish their day roughly around that mid-afternoon mark and still watch the council meetings, which I know a lot of people like to do, which will earlier start times will isolate the type of people that can do that. And my concern is that if people want to participate in council meetings or they want to present at public forums, the earlier start time would make them have to take a lot of that personal leave off. Now, I'm looking at this from a resident perspective. I'm a good example of a normal working class resident in the Snowy Valleys. Normal start times 7 a.m. and my normal finish time is 4 p.m. And I live in Cancoban full time. So for me to attend the council meetings in Tumut, I would have to take a couple hours off after lunch to travel here to attend at 4, as they have been. If we're starting at 1, I would personally have to take off from 11, which really impacts my workday. And I know that would really impact the workdays of residents here in the Snowy Valley. So that is my opinion on it. I think 3 p.m. was a good compromise. It allows those who are teachers, those who are students who want to attend from 3 p.m. But I do have concerns about the earlier start times.
Thank you. Argument 4, councillor Inglis.
I have to write off the whole day because of my professional commitments. I can't start something in the morning, which may go into the afternoon. So what I do is I just write the whole day off. So it's a non-earning day for me. I sympathise with Councillor Hardwick, and I listen carefully to what he's got to say, but we have to look after the majority of the councillors, whilst conscious of the position of other councillors as well. I have my business to run. After council meetings, I've got to look after my stock and go home and feed the stock. And in terms of participation, if people are unable to watch the meeting live, it's live stream and they can be picked up and watched at their convenience at some other time. So I support the motion of Councillor Sheldon for those reasons.
Thank you. Anyone for against? Councillor Hayes.
I'd like to thank Councillor Hardwick for his very eloquent rebuttal there. I thought that was very good and made a lot of sense to me. And I think younger councillors are what we need to attract to the table, and we're not going to attract them by eating into the workday. Traditionally, council meetings used to start at 5 o'clock, and they probably do for a lot of other councils. But I find that today, and I still work, not all the time, but I still work and I still run a farm, and I'm engaged in a lot of volunteer activities as well. So I just try and work my way around it. Putting a council meeting in the middle of the day just effectively ruins the day. By having today's start time, I could work half a day this morning, and that's effective for me, and it's effective for the children that I'm working with, and that's very important, especially in these days when there is a lack of teaching staff available. So it's important. It's important that I do as much of that as I can. So I'd like to see it stayed as it is. I'd even be happy for it to move a little later in the day, but I won't support this rescission motion.
Thank you. Okay, 4, councillor Packer.
So my preference is not to be involved in rescission motions. So getting involved in this was because I strongly believe and have noted through many years involvement in council and other organisations that decision making as you get into the evening suffers. You take less time thinking about things, and people get almost to a degree of offhandedness around decision making as the evening draws on. So that's the pure and simple reason why I favour earlier council times. I actually think to do justice to an organisation the size of this, where we are effectively the board of directors, decision makers, a full day out once a month is not too much to ask. So,
Anyone else against? Councillor Wirtz.
Yeah, I'd like to speak against the motion. I think with this type of thing, it's good to be take all perspectives on board, because you're deciding a meeting time that affects 9 councillors and also senior staff of the executives and also the council staff. And so it's trying to find something middle ground that is beneficial and works best for the most people. Like Councillor Inglis mentioned before, we all have commitments, and it is I guess you write off the entire day in terms of if you're here for a council meeting. My main concern with the 1 p.m. start times is that would mean the agenda review would start at 10. Go for
No,
the
we're not
12.
having that anymore.
No,
No more
that's
agenda
gone.
review.
Can't have it.
No more agenda reviews.
No,
No.
that's the reason we're going to start
That's-
early.
Sorry to interrupt. Come on.
Well, that's the case then. I would suggest that a 2 p.m. start would be better if there's a negotiation.
Back to where we were.
Back to the drawing board. I mean, I'm open to negotiation, but it'd be nice to have those negotiations between the council staff. Considering this affects the councillors and the council staff directly, it doesn't affect the community unless they're wanting to put their name forward in the future. So that's why I think in the future it would be good to attract younger people. Me personally, I'd like us to have the latest start times at 3 p.m. because I obviously run a business. It means I can work half a day. I can finish at lunchtime and then come into meeting and then have the meetings after work. And I imagine most people who are in a professional working a 9 to 5 would be in the same boat.
Yeah, we're up to the rescission motion.
So, thank you, councillor Works. Do we have someone for? Councillor
Oh, four, sorry.
Thompson?
Yes, four. Listening, and I understand where the 2 o'clock comes in, but you know, the mayor and I were here this morning because we had another meeting, a council-related meeting earlier today. It makes for an incredibly long day, and if there's not going to be the agenda review, if we're not going to be having the workshops, I just look at things like there's 700 pages of attachments for this council meeting alone. 700. So in order to be able to ask the question, if we have 9 councillors contacting staff, asking the same questions, and the staff are giving the same question or the same response to those 9 people, this is where it becomes incredibly frustrating for us and for the staff, and just being able to access it. Being able to ask the questions about the whole suite of documents in the annual report, the asset registers, the quarterly reviews, the tendering, there's so much in here to make the right decisions. And, you know, it's all fine and well, but as the days get longer and people say, oh, but we've got to be out of here by 6 because we've got to be somewhere else. And then it starts impacting on the things that you do after hours. Many of us have other commitments in relation to volunteer work that we do, or other organisations that we're involved with. But to make a commitment for 1 day a month at least, where we dedicate that day to what we're being paid to do in remuneration, you know, $1,600 almost is not an insignificant amount for 1 day. So we just need to be mindful that this is about this term of council. I understand if we're looking to attract people down the track, that this is about this term of council, what is going to work. We've got the referendum coming up, whether we merge, whether we demerge or stay merged. And we've got so many things that we're going to have to be working through, irrespective of what the outcome of November 29. So that's why I support. I'm happy with the 2 o'clock start. The 3 o'clock start to me just takes it out a bit longer, and it makes it more and more difficult.
Thank you, councillor Thompson. Anyone want to speak against? Okay, councillor Sheldon, do you want to close the argument?
Well, I think it's good that actually we've got to some point, and councillor Wirtz brought it up and so did councillor Thompson. I don't know about the others, but I would be happy to compromise and we go back to the original time of 2 p.m. where it was.
So at the
Right.
moment, we have a rescission motion. though.
You have to
All right, well,
rescind it
no,
first.
close it.
Yep.
Vote on it.
Okay, all those in favour of rescinding the motion? We have Inglis, Sheldon, Packard, Thompson. All those against? Hayes, Larter, Wirtz, Hardwick, Ham. Thank you. Okay, urgent business without notice.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to submit a rescission motion as a matter of urgency, having met and had coffee with the Commissioner for the RFS last week in relation to the signing of the agreement. So I think the resolution is up there that council defers the signing of the amended heads of agreement and engages with the RFS, which is what we did last week, about potential other sites that don't result in non-aviation land use at the Tumut Aerodrome.
Sure.
So I'd like to move that if someone would second that for me, so I can speak to it.
Councillor Sheldon?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We did meet with the Commissioner and over coffee, and it would appear that there's quite a bit of misinformation about money that's not available for the hangar. There's always, that's not the hangar, sorry, the Fire Control Centre. The money has been there, but is specifically tied to the inquiry that occurred.
Could I just interrupt for a moment? I just am going to rule it urgent. That just needs to be said.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
Okay,
you.
off you go.
Madam Mayor. The point is that the funding is specifically tied to the inquiry and the grants that were made available following the 1919-20 fires. And so there's also a finite timeline of how that funding can be spent and and when it needs to be spent by. If the funding is not utilised within that period, we don't get it. It then means that if this region wants a fire control centre, we go on the list with everybody else applying for them, and they have numerous ones. My concern is, why would the RFS come back to us after having gone on for 4 years, saying yes, 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 coming up with a heads of agreement, going back to them and saying, no, we're not happy with that, but we want to include this, and then they come back and agree to it, and we go, oh, and now we're not going to do it. When it was first raised, this community raised concerns about the risk to our timber industry and to our communities. And if we don't end up with a fire control centre, that risk continues. And it was made very clear from my understanding at that coffee meeting with the Commissioner. Funding is there. They have every intentions of building it, but if we don't get this on the books now, we have the potential of losing it. And I didn't get the feeling it would come back at another point.
Someone against the
So can I
rescission?
just ask for a clarification? When you say we met with, can you define who the we was so we can?
So there was Councillor Larter, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Sheldon, and the acting GM.
Okay.
And thank you for making the time. Yes.
And
So,
can I just go, all councillors were given the opportunity to attend that.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Everyone
so
was
just
invited.
it wasn't a,
Select few,
No.
no. Against, anyone against the rescission motion?
Well, I
Councillor
don't-
Larter.
I don't really understand
Okay.
what
No, it's a rescission motion.
yeah, I understand that. But if we're going to rescind something that's as important as this, without a report, just cold, like that, it's not a tree, it's bigger than a tree. I'm not fully over this.
we had a full report last
Yeah,
week.
I'll let the acting general manager speak to what this rescission motion would mean.
Well, it's in accordance with 9.3 of the Code of Meetings, so the mayor can rule any.
I don't discount that, no.
So essentially we're just rescinding a previous motion of
Yes.
council, and the previous motion was to look at other sites. I think what councillor Thompson would like to rescind that and propose that the recommendation from the October meeting be carried.
I think that's what councillor Hayes is saying, that second line, the proposal of what this means isn't part of this rescission motion.
There's
Is that correct,
Sec-
councillor Hayes?
Yeah,
there's a second.
I'm a little bit lost.
Yeah. Oh,
It says, should the rescission motion be successful, this is what we will,
that's what we
we
didn't
adopt,
know.
we will
Yeah.
adopt.
Yeah.
Is that the original motion?
Yes.
Yes.
From last meeting.
So we signed the heads of agreement with RFS to proceed with the Fire Control Centre
As planned.
as
Yeah.
planned from day one, which is
Okay, so that's what we couldn't see on the screen. Councillor Ardo, do you want to speak against it?
Yeah, I will speak against it. It was, look, I've got to say, it was actually very good
Oh, good.
to meet with the RFS, and I commend the appointment of Brent Curtin as the new commissioner. He seems to be very sensible, and, you know, we had a pretty robust conversation about where things were at, and I think at the end of it, there was a real genuine commitment from all sides to essentially work together in working this out. Now, I don't believe that we need to be putting rescission motions up, you know, a week later without any due diligence or due deliberation about what we're going to do, because in fact, you know, this is really and truly an opportunity to get this right. There are a number of factors, and the commissioner agreed with the points that I raised in relation to the non-aviation activity. And I did suggest to him that perhaps there might be some opportunities for other sites within the community that we could talk about, which they obviously were keen to, you know,
Be open to-
go with the easiest option, but he wasn't shutting it down. He understood completely the issue for council in terms of the economic activity at the airport. There's also, you know, perhaps an opportunity which I discussed with him about. See, as the current heads of agreement or superstructure sits, that encompasses being in partnership with the forestry. Now, you know, the forestry have got a lease here. You know, why do we need to build a monstrosity out there? I mean, if we're going to build something out there, let's build it so that it's not occupying the face of the taxiways. So it's, you know, the impact of it is as minimal on the aviation side of it as it can be, and perhaps it can be scaled back, you know, so that you know, the forestry doesn't need to be in there as well. So there is a number of things on the table. I think this is very, you know, I think this is wrong. I think we can sort this out without, you know, putting anything further in writing that's going to inflame the situation. Let's sit down with the people. You know, let's just get it right so everyone's happy without making things on the run like this is. Again, you know, it's just reactionary. And as Councillor Hayes just pointed out, there's really no background or report to any of this, which should be forthcoming from Mr. Wilton about what sites there potentially are, what the impacts are, so I think we just need to sit tight for, you know, and get it right. There's no urgency here.
Thanks, councillor Larder. That was against, anyone for?
I have a question.
Yes. Councillor Work.
Councillor Thompson mentioned the funding has been committed, but has there been an actual, I guess, from the RFS, have they said that when the funding is going to be provided? Have they given a timeline date of delivery to this heads of agreement? If it gets signed, have they expressed any timeframe?
I'll refer that to the Director of Infrastructure and Works.
Through you, Madam Mayor, in the report that we brought to council to the September meeting, I believe, it did outline that the construction component of this project doesn't start till 28, 29. I understand that is because that's when the funding for the construction component of the project is available.
Councillor Sheldon, did you want to speak?
Yeah, look, I think I'm for it. You know, I was against it in the beginning. I was prepared to sit back and wait for due diligence. And then I thought, I had a good chat with the commission. I was lucky because I arrived there earlier and I was lucky to speak to him without a whole lot of around chatter. He's told me, and I asked him straight out, what's all the kerfuffle about building the fire control centre? He said, that's on your side. That's on council's side, not on the RFS side. He said the funding does become available next year.
Right.
They want to move ahead and build it. I said, thank you, that's all I wanted to find out. I do understand where councillor Larder is coming from, but then when you go through, and this has been a problem with council, and I'll say it, we have spent a lot of time, this council, cleaning up previous council's messes. If we go through our resolutions list and you look at the dates, we keep adding and adding and adding. We've got to start ticking some boxes and getting them over and done with and finish the project. If the guys are keen to do it, let's get on and do it. We haven't got an alternate. We haven't got a commercial person in there or even anyone that's put in an expression of interest. These guys want to build their rural fire centre. Why are we hindering them?
Anyone for against?
Now, just a question, have we got a design, current design,
Yes. I think-
without the forestry?
I'm pretty sure that I saw that, yes.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, I believe that the new design is modified without the
Forestry.
forestry component.
Right.
Yeah.
Have we seen that?
Is it in the
It
report?
was in the last
Well,
report.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was in the last
I don't
report. It had the
recall.
area weather.
Yeah.
I voted against this and I have since asked questions. I wasn't fortunate enough to meet the commissioner, but I was concerned about the flooding on that side and the capability of having a flood and having such an important control centre on the other side. I've since been reassured that's not an issue. So I will be supporting this rescission motion. Anyone else against?
Just got a clarification if I can, Madam Mayor. How far along, we chose not to enter into the heads of agreement to look at other options. How
Yes.
long until the other options come through to us? And we can determine whether there are better options and then head into the heads of agreement from there.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. So after the meeting in September, I had a meeting with the RFS to discuss with them what was the options analysis they'd done previously on the sites, and they'd promised to give me that information. I still haven't received it, but that was a month ago. I can follow up, but they did say they had done an options analysis before, and they said they'd come up with that site being the preferred site. But it's before my time, and I haven't seen the information that was done on that.
Anyone else against? Councillor Thompson, do you want to close?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Interesting point is that in speaking with the Commissioner and the people that he had with them, they have spent in excess of $200,000 to date preparing the designs and the process to get it to this point. There was an overall design done for the aerodrome, and that included the fire control centre, which is why all of the aprons and the taxiways have been designed to enable that the efficiencies of actually bringing the planes in, fueling them, getting them full of water, loaded and getting them out. So it all revolved around the fire control centre being placed there. We also, when we spoke about the hangar that is going out there, we as a council have spoken about siloing the hangar so that it's not a part of the fire control centre while being accessible, which means that we can actually determine what happens with that when it's not being utilised there. And the other point that I think is really important just to understand from the Commissioner's point of view when it was discussed about alternative sites, some of those were even mentioned down at the railway precinct and even if you go to a greenfield site. He made it very, very clear, council can provide alternate sites. The RFS will determine whether or not they feel that is appropriate. It's not if council thinks it's the appropriate site, if the RFS is not happy. And so we are at a point where do we end up with a similar situation that we had with the evacuation centre, which is we kept looking for the perfect spot, made a rush decision, and whether it's in the perfect spot or not, I don't know. But at least with this, the aerodrome was always designed to include the fire control centre as part of the overall emergency, and it's being funded through money that was generated or the grants through the inquiry after the 1919-20 fires.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. All those in favour? We have Thompson, Packard, Wirtz, Sheldon, Ham against. We have Hardwick, Larter, Inglis and Hayes. Are you abstaining?
I don't have enough information.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Okay, so you're abstaining, Inglis?
I'm abstaining.
Okay,
That's no.
that's no. Thank you. Moving on to 10.1, Council Resolutions Action Report.
Can I move an urgent motion?
2025.
That was 5-4, that's passed.
It's passed, yes.
Yeah, so now we need to,
So
We
now
have
we
to
need
move
to
the-
We have to do
notice
the-
of motion.
yeah.
Oh, I
so-
beg your
You have to do
pardon.
the
Motion, motion.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeannie, let go back a little. The motion is approve the amended heads of agreement between Snowy Valleys Council and the New South Wales Rural Fire Service for the construction and occupation of a fire control centre at the Tumut Aerodrome under the terms and conditions outlined in attachment 1, draft heads of agreement, and rescind its resolution M4124 as of the 21st of March 24, as this amendment heads of agreement supersedes the previous heads of agreement for the RFS Fire Control Centre that was presented to council, and authorise the acting general manager to execute the document on behalf of council.
I move that, Madam Mayor.
Moved by councillor Thompson, seconded by councillor Packard. Councillor Thompson,
I
any
think,
discussion?
I think I've said everything I need to say. We need this fire control centre in our region. You know, I have to say the comment that Tumut didn't burn during the fires, to me, is quite offensive, because this community was almost brought to its knees because we rely so heavily on our timber industry and the timber products, the harvesting. So for me, you know, it was drummed into me in 2022 how important it is to have all of these fire support networks out there, and it's now time to just make this happen, get it on the books and start moving forward.
Thank you. Any other discussion, councillors? Councillor Larter?
Well, once again, I mean, I just cannot believe that governance just gets thrown out the door. I mean, here you've had an urgent rescission motion put up without any notice. We don't even know what's in the heads of agreement because it was in the previous document. So I think it's pretty unfair to be asking us to make a decision based on something that's not even before us. The goalposts have moved. There's now not the forestry department in there. There's the opportunity to engage with aviation consultants that were involved in the process in working up the aerodrome previously to see whether we can mitigate the non-aviation activity on the site. I mean, none of that's been disclosed. What we want to just go ahead and just sign some document and give basically them the carte blanche to do whatever they want on prime commercial land at the airport. And that's what it is. It's not like you're giving away some piece of crown land or some railway precinct that's worthless to anyone. This is worth money. It can generate income. And here we are, just no documentation, nothing, just on the whim of Councillor Thompson. So, I spoke to the commissioner over a cup of tea, and here we go. I mean, it beggars belief. I mean, how about we get a report back to the next council meeting before any heads of agreement signed on anything, and let's get it worked out properly, do it properly. Just don't, I mean, it's just shaking me.
Thanks, councillor Larter. Anyone else for? Councillor Packard?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, look, Canberra burnt because timber this side of the range took off. All our timber resources, a whole bunch of them burnt many years later. If our community doesn't need and deserve a fire control centre to try and minimise the risk of that happening, I don't know what we need. We can stall and sort of put things off, hoping for an ideal situation, but when grant funding comes along, you need to act, and we need to act. We need to be responsible. The previous council went through a lot of due diligence getting this included in the master plan for out there. We have an obligation to follow through with that.
I'm pretty sure
it was the previous.
Director of Infrastructure, the heads of agreements come to council twice now.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, that's correct. The first was in March 2024, which originally did include the forestry component of the fire control centre, and the second one was at this September meeting, which was a revised heads of agreement which excluded and included new revised plans for the fire control centre.
Thank you. Anyone else against? Councillor Hardwick.
Yeah, I have no doubt that the fire control centre is of paramount need for this area, and I wholeheartedly support that. I last Friday attended the AGM of the Softwoods Working Group and listened to the whole meeting in its duration, which Duncan spoke at. Thank you, Duncan. The issue that I have with this is that, yeah, it came to the September meeting. We're now in November, and we have sort of voted on and asked for a report to be made or other sites to be looked at. And I just want to know if that can be done before the next council meeting, if possible, and then have it all compiled so us councillors can fully understand what we're getting into. I know it's come through in segments and came to the previous set of councillors. We've already had in the previous rescission motion 2 councillors abstained from voting just due to wanting to make sure that the decisions being made are right for the area, right for the region, and done properly. So I just wanted to know if possible, that could potentially come to the next meeting at all.
The Director of Infrastructure or?
I can answer that.
Yep.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Hardwick, the next council meeting's only in a couple of weeks.
Exactly.
So for council to liaise with the RFS, look at new sites, investigate those sites and come back, I don't think that would be possible in a couple of weeks.
Is it, another clarification, Madam Mayor, is it possible to have the commissioners' conversations that you guys had shared with the councillors who were unable to attend to know what he has said and if there was notes taken and some of us were unable to attend that?
Well, I think the councillors that were, I was not able to attend, have all spoken about their discussions with the commissioner. I'm not sure, was there any minutes taken or notes? It was just.
No, it wasn't. We were actually told it was unofficial meeting. It was a coffee and a catch up and introduction.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, how everyone took it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So 4,
So it was an
Councillor-
unofficial discussion, wasn't it?
councillor Wirtz 4.
Yeah, I'd like to speak
Oh.
for the.
Resulted in a rescission motion.
This is obviously very pressing, I think. Looking at these council papers, there's a mayoral minute about the drought, upcoming drought. We all know that we've had it for 5 years since the bushfires, and they've been fairly good for in terms of bushfire danger's been very low, but we're going into another drought, which is essentially meaning that it won't be long until we have another severe bushfire event. The urgency of this is that if we do have another severe bushfire event, specifically in the state forest and the private pine plantations, and that part of that plantation is wiped out, Tuman's economy will go down the gurgler. There will be no any timber left for Visy and the softwoods. Everything would grind to a halt. So it's of paramount importance that we get this underway. There's already been delays in the past. We need to make a decision. We need to act so that we are best prepared for when we have another bushfire event. That's what this RFS control centre is for. It's to respond in the event of an emergency, to have boots on the ground, have planes in the air that can drop water on the fire in the event of an emergency. That's what it's there for. So we need to make the decision, make the call, and that's why I'm for this motion.
Thank you. Councillor Inglis, did you want to, Councillor Inglis was trying to say something before. Do you want to say something now?
I just wanted to clarify, it was not an official meeting, it was an unofficial.
It was an
meeting.
unofficial meeting.
And we're acting on communications that were unofficial. Is that what's proposed?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep. Councillor Latta, this is a question or?
I just wanted to ask if we could go into committee to
ask.
Okay, Councillor Latta wants to go into committee. Do we have a seconder? Lapsed. Sorry, Councillor Latta. Okay, closed debate.
No, so I'd like to speak.
Yep. Are you speaking against? Or
I'm not really sure. Councillor Inglis is right. Yeah, here we've got a rescission motion based on an informal conversation and we talk about governance. There's no report. It's just, and you know, I was caught off guard. Didn't really know it was coming. And this goes back till I think 2021 when they came down and announced this. In the first council, the first Snowy Valleys Council, this was announced, and here we are 5 years later. We haven't done anything. There's definitely a need for it. And you know, it needs to be built and needed to be built a long time ago. Sitting on our hands, but you know, it's probably not the best site. But you know, we need to build it, and that's the thing. But gee, this has been this has been shoddy, I think.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Thompson, do you want to, councillor Sheldon?
I'd just like to, because I did listen to what councillor Lar did, and what I would like to know, maybe he does or someone knows, do we have anyone that is interested in taking up that prime commercial land at this point in time?
It's a question to
Anyone?
No, we haven't had an EOI, have we?
no, but it is part of the aerodrome master plan.
Thank you.
And has been for
Yes.
A very
that's
long
what
time.
just asked.
Councillor Thompson, close the
Can
debate.
I move an amendment?
No,
Why?
councillor Thompson,
Close debate.
Why can't I move
Madam-
an amendment?
you've had your time to speak.
I'm moving an amendment.
Can you do that?
Move an amendment
It's been moved
before the
and seconded, the motion, we haven't voted on it. Yeah,
So I beg your pardon, I didn't know that, councillor Lowe.
I'll forgive you.
What's your amendment?
That rather than approve, that council engages with the RFS and
Formally.
and stakeholders formally, read the heads of agreement, and the outcomes of that be presented to the next council meeting.
Okay, so that's, we'll just wait for that to be typed up and then we'll ask for a seconder.
just clarifying, the next council meeting is
Is in 3 weeks'
not
time.
far away.
11th of December.
yeah, about two.
11th, yeah.
Well, it has to, once the consultation,
They've done their
Engage with the
Might as well
RFS.
add this to the long list.
Okay, so you're happy with that amendment, councillor Larter?
Just need a second.
Okay, so councillor Larter's put that amendment up there. He's happy with that amendment. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hayes. Councillor Larter, do you want to speak to it?
well, all I say, this is an opportunity to get the governance right, get them in the room. Let's get a result that everyone's happy with. We've got the people that are capable of negotiating with them. You know, and I hear all this about building buildings, but buildings don't put out fires. We've missed an opportunity to build a runway that could extend and put out fires. But nobody's talking about that. And they're the real solutions. Don't worry about bums on seats in fire control rooms. You can have them anywhere. We've been doing it for 100 years. But if you don't have enough runway, you can't take off the aeroplane with a full amount of water. That should be the absolute priority of the Softwoods Working Group and all these other stakeholders. If they want to protect assets, they want to protect lives, they want to protect people's livelihoods and the economy of this region, that's got to be the number one solution. Helicopters on the ground, we've got them with True North and Hayes and the RFS. We've got the 802 fire bombers, but they can only take off with 50% water capacity.
Could I interrupt you, councillor Larter? We just need clarification with the amendment.
Yeah, it was.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just in terms of the wording, councillor Larter, when you say engage with the RFS on the amended heads of agreement, what part of the heads of agreement do you mean? Like, what are we engaging on? It's quite a lengthy document, just so.
Well, to be completely fair, I think we just need to make sure that our interests are protected and they get what they want. There is no point in barreling ahead and building a whole heap of infrastructure on the entire boundary of the taxiway if they don't need all that. That can be on the fence where the road is. They don't need to be putting.
Okay, so what I was asking for is the clarification. Are you happy with that amendment as it is? Engage the RFS regarding that amended heads of agreement. So you don't want to specify what part, just the
I'll
whole.
leave it up to the people. Look, common sense has got to prevail.
Okay, no,
Look,
that's
at the end
fine.
of the day, all I'm saying is we need to protect, what we can commercially out there for our interests, and still, it's clear that it's going to go ahead in some form, by the numbers here. I'm not
Yeah.
stupid, but let's get it right.
Thank you, councillor Larder. Councillor Sheldon.
Just on, listen to what councillor Larder said, and I listened to what the AGM said. Would it be better site specific to the aerodrome?
Yeah, I'm happy with anything.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, I just don't know what we're engaging on. So we have been in.
I suppose all I'm saying.
And they're quite happy with the agreement. So I just don't know what we go back to them.
All I'm saying is we need to identify with them what specifically they need in terms of access to the runway, access to the taxiways. And if they don't need to access the entire taxiway, then, they should only have the part of their business which uses the infrastructure associated with the taxiway and the airport attached to it. Anything else should be put along
Can I
the
just
road.
clarify with the Director of Infrastructure whether that's already in it?
All we've got through you, Madam Mayor, in the heads of agreement is a layout of the revised proposed footprint of the fire control centre. What I don't know is how fixed that footprint is at the moment. I don't believe it has been submitted as a development application, Nick, at this stage. So what I just don't know is just how fixed the current footprint and arrangement is, the revised one. Maybe there is a possibility to flag our concerns, Councillor Larder's concerns with the RFS about that arrangement.
So engage with the RFS regarding the heads of agreement of the position and usage of the fire control.
The arrangement and layout
Right.
of the fire control centre in its current fine. So could be rearranged.
If you could just watch this, Councillor Larder, and see if you're happy with that. Happy with that? Yep, Councillor Larder is
Of
happy
the fire
there.
control.
Councillor
Of
the
the
fire-
of the heads of agreement.
Of
I know where that is.
of the fire control, of the
It's on my.
potential fire control centre.
I'll speak against.
Not quite yet, we just got to make sure we're right with
Not
that.
gonna happen.
Just now, Councillor Larder and Councillor Hayes, are you both happy with that amendment?
Yeah, and then look, as an addition to that, I think you need to also add in there that the RFS need to prioritise assisting with grant funding for the extension of the runway.
I think that's getting a little bit off topic there. Yeah,
I believe
Councillor Packard.
this amendment is now just simply negating the original motion.
Included.
It's actually going back to what the original motion was
The
seeking.
rescinded.
Yeah,
So I don't think you can do that in an amendment. An amendment has to be just a change to it, not a rescission.
You can't directly contradict
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rescission.
And
Does this
And
directly?
I believe that that's what it's got to, is it's just
Yeah.
getting,
Yeah, it's more
it's just going
foreshadowing.
back to asking,
yeah, yeah.
Madam Mayor,
Keep going back to
Um,
But is it?
Okay, so where am I? So we've got, at the moment, we've got Councillor Larder and Councillor Hayes have that amendment up
it's
there.
not an amendment,
So it's a foreshadow motion.
It's a foreshadow motion.
which is basically the same as the motion that we
With
just
that we're rescinding, so
rescinded.
it's, to me, that you can't have an amendment which is just seeking to,
Change the.
an amendment to a motion has to be an amendment.
Could we-
not a reversal?
But it's not, because it's in
is.
site specific to the airport. The other one was to find other sites.
Can I just suggest something?
Completely
Can we go back up to the original motion? Is there a potential to add a number 4, engage with the RFS on site-specific location of the fire control centre as a 4th point?
Whereas the amendment's more on the usage.
Well, if you approve that, you've already got it in the heads of agreement where the thing's going, is
Yeah.
my understanding.
Madam Mayor, can I just,
And
the issue that I have,
I'd like to move on this pretty quickly.
yeah,
Councillor
the
Thompson.
issue that I have with this, Madam Mayor, is this highlights exactly the problems with not having workshops and not having proper briefings. Because we did have a complete workshop, and I've sat here and I've listened to everyone say they don't have the detail, they don't have the knowledge, they haven't seen. We've seen it all. We discussed it at length in relation to a workshop, which is where all of the additional conditions were put in to change the heads of agreement because the RFS had taken some out. This was discussed at length. All of the information was there. The September meeting included every single detail that people are saying you don't have the knowledge or the understanding of. And that's my level of frustration, is that how many times do we present it? It's not council's fault if people aren't taking or putting in to actually read and understand and engage with the heads of agreement.
Thank you,
We've had it
councillor
all.
Thompson. I think we'll stick on the topic there. What we have to do now, because this is now a foreshadowed motion, is we have to go back and vote on the first motion, which is that motion there, which has been moved by councillor Thompson and councillor Packard.
Yeah,
No, don't you vote on mine first?
No, because you're a foreshadow motion. So if this
What?
motion doesn't get up, I'll let the
It's an
AGM
amendment.
speak to it.
Yes, just in cause of 10.7, so the foreshadowed motion is only to be considered if the original motion is lost or withdrawn.
But it's not, it's an
It's an
amendment.
amendment.
It's not an amendment.
Well, it's a direct negative to
Yeah, you
No,
the,
it's not.
It's-
well, one's approving the heads of agreement and rescinding a
And
previous
one's asking-
resolution and authorising me to enter into the document, and one's engaging further and making more amendments to that. So we're not approving it, we're sort of,
But it's not,
We're not signing it again.
no, and the opposite would be not approving it. And that's not what this amendment's about.
but we're not approving it.
No. If
So with
the
the
amendment
four,
said we do not approve.
the
it, we
foreshadow,
don't do
is it
that.
a foreshadow motion? That's what we've got to clarify. Is it if it's a foreshadow motion, we have to vote on the first motion first. If it is an amendment, then we can vote on the amendment.
What's been moved as an amendment?
But it's
And-
been a point of order.
But the point of order was that it was actually a
It hasn't been
foreshadow
moved.
motion because it was
It's
in the same context as the rescission motion.
been changed.
So,
It's received.
yes,
Who rules on whether it's one or the other?
Retains moved and seconded.
me.
to be voted.
So I'm going back to the motion. We're just going to vote on the motion, please.
original one.
The original motion, of which we had councillor Thompson, councillor Packard move. All those in favour? Thompson, Packard, Worts, Sheldon. Against,
I abstain, Madam Mayor.
against councillor Inglis, councillor Hardwick, councillor Larder, councillor Hayes. Thank you, councillor. On to 10.1, council resolution action reports, November 2025. So that's
is
page,
Is
page,
the amendment now the
28.
foreshadowed motion?
But the motion wasn't lost.
the motion wasn't lost, the motion was carried. 10.1, Councillor Larder.
Next month.
Well, given the fact that you've ruled that the previous business was urgent, then I think it should be urgent that in signing that heads of agreement, that the general manager and yourself are given the authority to engage with the RFS, because I mean it now just beggars belief that they're just going to say, well, we want this, and you're just going to give it to them.
Yeah, okay, thank you, take that on board.
Or,
Don't have a plan.
I mean, the local government minister needs to be informed about this. I mean, this is absolutely abhorrent. I mean,
Okay, we're moving on to 10.1, council resolution action report. Councillor Larder, I'm very happy to talk to you after the meeting.
a point of order. I mean, we've just voted to give away land at the airport to the RFS, and there is absolutely no governance in place at all in relation to it. And
What is your point of order?
the point of order is that now I think that
The point of order is that we've just voted on a motion and it was passed and carried. It's time to move
Without
on to the next
information.
motion. It was voted on.
But you
Councillor Ryder.
can't put that to a group. of
Okay, who do I
councillors
have
without the due
moving
diligence.
10.1, please? Councillor Thompson? Seconded by Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, I just move that we accept it. If anyone else has any other queries.
Are we going? with the-
Councillors, any discussion? Councillor
I'd like
Inglis.
clarification.
Certainly.
Madam Mayor, page 34, 11.7. The expression of interest, outcome lot 1, Capper Street.
Yes.
On the last occasion, the due date was 3 days after the last meeting, so I didn't raise it. But it seems that the date has now been extended to the 31st of December 2025. My questions are twofold. Who makes that determination to extend due dates? And secondly, why has the due date been extended?
For you, through the Director of Infrastructure and Works.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Inglis, we've tried to contact the applicant of the EOI and get more information from them to see where they're at with progressing this, and we've had no response. So we've got no other option other than to push the date out until we hear back from the applicant, because the ball's in their court in terms of coming back to council and providing us on the options agreement and financial capability of the project as per the resolution of council.
Well, Madam Mayor, through you, if there's no response by the 31st of December, what then happened?
Through you, Madam, well, there's no time bar on this proposal. So all we can do is keep going back to the proponent and asking them, are you going to proceed? Are you going to withdraw? What are you going to do?
Well,
This proposal.
shouldn't we, it's got to be finalised, otherwise it'll
Should be a
still be there in
time.
12 months' time.
Yeah.
That if we don't get a response, the submission will lapse.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I believe that'd have to be a resolution of council.
All right, well,
Thank you. Good point.
I'll put a motion at the next meeting if that needs to be.
Thank you. Councillor Sheldon?
No.
No?
Oh, look, I just, keeps popping up. And it, again, this has been moved, I think, the Adelong Showground. Been on there for over 12 months.
Through you, Madam Mayor.
what?
The
Councillor.
Adelong Showground committee has virtually been on there for 12 months. Is it dissolved or isn't it? Why does it keep coming up?
No, so that's with the committee at the moment. We're just waiting to hear back.
Well, I suppose it's a bit like Councillor Inglis's question. It's just ongoing, is it? Do we write to them and say what's going on or what actually happens? So we can, again, we grow this list. We don't tick the boxes and get them off the list.
Yeah, no, so we have drafted a maintenance and operation agreement, which has been sent to them. We're just waiting for feedback. We have followed up a couple of times, so
Nice.
we can follow up again.
Councillor Hayes?
Adelong shows in March, so hopefully everything will be worked out by then. And it's a great show to get along to. Promote that. The advocacy plan, can we see a draft of that, please? And can we also, as Councillor Larder mentioned, make sure that the extension of the runway for the Tumut Airport's as part of that, as per council resolution?
Is the advocacy,
So there has been a advocacy plan that's been drafted, along with a couple of other documents, including the productivity and cost savings plan. Pending the referendum outcome, I was going to bring those back to council early next year, to go out on exhibition.
Can we see an electronic draft beforehand?
sorry, what was that?
Sorry, an electronic draft beforehand?
As council, yep.
Yep.
Is there a motion seeking funding for that extension?
Yes.
That's not in the action report here?
No.
Do you know when the motion was put to council.
some time ago.
Okay, councillors.
Yes,
Wait,
this is only for the past 12 months.
Probably 12 months ago then.
There'll be one for a passenger terminal for the RFS.
Okay.
And then
Okay, councillor Thompson, do you want to close
No.
debate?
Thank you.
No. All those in favour? Okay, we have Thompson, Packard, Inglis, Hardwick, Wertz, Sheldon. Wertz. Sheldon. Anne. And against Hayes.
No, I'm not against.
Oh, well,
What have
better
you
put your hand up. Hayes
Pay attention.
and against Lata. Thank you, councillors. On to 10.2, de-amalgamation update, November 25. Thank you, councillor Sheldon, seconded councillor Packard. Councillor Sheldon.
yes, could we get some clarification, please, on the costing? Of course, it's $240,000. Who's that cost to and who's it from? Is it council's cost for the referendum? Is it the overall cost of the referendum, or where is it?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to councillor Sheldon. So that is council's direct cost. That it costs to run the referendum. So that's been the quote that's been given to council from the Electoral Commission. So that's the, as I said, so all of the, the staffing for the referendum, the material, the social media sort of awareness. So the direct cost to conduct the referendum. That's what that figure is.
Thank you.
Just,
Councillor Wertz.
yeah, we're just along that same line. How was the increase? Because it was 180,000 plus GST when we were going into this, and now it's jumped up 60,000. Where was the research or due diligence in
Jumped
regards?
to 400 at one stage.
Yeah,
So I did ask that question, and according to the Electoral Commission, it's on page 37 of the report. So the increased costs are due to the referendum being a standalone event rather than a statewide council election. So last time council was part of like a shared resources pool with like Hilltop, Mundra, yes, and Gundagai. So that was a shared resource. So we're able to save some costs there. But this being a standalone event, we're unable to save cost, apparently.
I just mean in terms of it wasn't known that it was going to cost more money before we went into this. It was
No, so yeah, so the 180.
I knew it was going to be a standalone event.
Yeah.
Surely like several months ago, but we had no information regarding costs.
No, it just keeps going up.
Mm.
Yeah. Councillor Hardwick.
Just seeking clarification, Madam Mayor, are we getting any support or grant funding to run the referendum at all? And how much is that?
From my understanding, the quote is around $400,000, not confirmed, but about that amount. And the state government will pay 55% of it. Minister Honig said that to me last time I spoke to him. Councillor Inglis.
I note with some concern, Madam Mayor, that under the heading Risk Management Cost Benefit Analysis, stated that the risk involved with de-amalgamation has been assessed as high, and given there has been no commitment by the state government to fund the de-amalgamation, this only exacerbates the financial impacts on council and ratepayers. Does council intend to inform the ratepayers and the community of the likely cost of a loan and the impact that it will have on council's finances, both in the short and long term?
Thank you.
For you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Inglis. So that statement is correct. We haven't got a commitment from the state government to provide a grant to cover all of the de-amalgamation costs. So at this stage, council has proposed the scenario in its fact sheet, which has been sent to all households in the LGA, essentially stating that council would need to borrow that money because we don't have any internal reserves or cash available to pay for that ourselves. So essentially that would need to be borrowed if grant funding is not provided to DFMA.
Yes, and as I understand it through you, Madam Mayor, that the anticipated cost of borrowing will involve an annual repayment per council of $350,000, and that as the new council will not exist until it's promulgated, that the cost will have to be borne by the current SVC, and that'll be $700,000 per annum, and we do not have the capacity to pay that. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, that's correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. That's correct.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, that's correct.
Councillor.
Is it anticipated, I withdraw that. Can I just ask one more question? And that is, how can we be certain that the new council, if there is a de-amalgamation, that the new Tumut council will be able to recover, which will probably be for the order of $1 million from the new Tumbarumba council as its share of the borrowed funds?
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Inglis, I'm not sure if I can able to answer that right now, because I don't know how the Tumut Council will be set up financially. So obviously when both the councils demerge, I think the expectation is they're in charge of their income and expenditure, but essentially for that kind of ongoing repayment, as I said, it would need to be via a loan, which would need to be covered through an SRV, or the council will need to borrow internally from a restricted fund, which you can do, but you need permission from the OLG.
So that'll be up to the new Tumbarumba council to
Correct.
determine how they're going to refund what they owe us.
Yeah,
Correct.
and the minister has not said no to financial support, but he hasn't said how much, and he wants to see an actual budget before he gives
Yeah,
it.
but he said no to the setup, funding the setup though, has he not?
Yes.
Thank you.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yep. Councillor Sheldon?
Yes, and look, I do think this is going to be problematic in two parts. Council does not have a policy that actually says that we borrow on non-incoming assets. That's the number one issue. And then number two issue, which does concern me, going back not only to the Boundaries Commission, but even what was said last week at a forum I went to, whereas they don't, the yes vote, and majority of them are from Tumbarumba, that they have said in the Boundaries Commission that they don't agree with those figures. That to me is a real alarm bell. If we're going to have to go and do that, and we've submitted all these financial sustainability plans to the local government, the Boundaries Commission, for them to agree on the referendum, and then they reiterate now that, or they go out there and infer, I should say is the correct term, that running Tumbarumba isn't going to be as explained in the Teggett report. So we really are heading into a cul-de-sac, which really could blow up in our face regarding finances.
Thank you, Councillor Sheldon. Councillor Wirtz?
Yeah, just leading on from what Councillor Sheldon said, because this did come up as a bit of a confusion point when I went to the meeting, and it was in regards to the loan from Treasury. The initial figures included a 1 million loan from the Treasury plus rate increases to cover the cost of the 4.8 million, and the secondary figures were for the 4.8 million as an entirety, that you had to cover up the entire cost. And the yes vote had assumed that there was a discrepancy of $2 million in those figures. And I just want to clarify that all the due diligence had taken place, and that.
And our local member, Dr. Joe McGurr, also asked for clarification about this, so I'll get the acting general manager to speak to it.
Oh, through you, Madam Mayor, so this has been clarified. There is no, just double dipping or sort of doubling up.
We can understand how those figures come about, but it's not the case. Yep.
we went through,
Councillor Packer?
we went through those at length when Stephen Pinnock was here.
Yeah.
And I remember particularly interrogating, there being a significant group interrogation of those figures because they were
You can see how it could happen.
concerning.
Yeah.
But I came out of it, and I think pretty much all the councillors who were there would agree that we couldn't pick any holes in them, but if anything, they were undercooked rather than overcooked.
Yeah. Question, clarification?
Clarification, please, Madam Mayor. I know the Teggett report and everyone else has put out $4.8 million will be the cost. And you keep raising it. And so I did some research and I just want to explain how they can come up with these figures. If it cost us the $26.3 million to amalgamate, and that was with all bells and whistles, but each council was given $5 million. And then I think the general manager at the time had to go back and get another $5 million, which is 15. Now, 15 million all up. Now, that was in 2016. So you've got to add 35% onto that is the going rate. So how the hell are we going to demerge
What's your point of
I'm going to say, how are we going to demerge for 4.8 million? I just can't see it happening.
It's a really
To the acting general
Eh?
manager?
We're a little bit off topic with the report, but,
Yeah, this is true.
in terms of the 4.8 plus CPI, because that estimate was done 12
2 years ago.
No, not 2 years, maybe about 12 months ago. So there was, like a detailed exercise undertaken to come up with that sort of 4.8, and that breakdown is actually in the financial sustainability plans. It does include some contingency. So that's the figures we have at hand.
Can I make something?
Yep.
The 4.8, as I understand it, is to be expended between the point of the referendum saying yes, demerge, and actually demerging. That 4.8 covers that. Then there's going to be a lot of additional costs if there are two councils set up post that. So that's where the comparison between the merging costs, that would have included things that happened after the councils were merged, not just to get the process up and running, whereas all this is the transitional costs
To do
in that period pre. So there will be additional, that's why when I made my opinion piece, I wanted people to be clear that there were going to be other costs carrying on for both councils post.
It's just the setup costs, just the setup costs, setting up.
That's only the setup costs, yeah. So there's the vote cost, there's the setup cost, and then there's the ongoing additional costs.
Correct.
Three tiers of costs.
And that's where my clarification comes in. With the amalgamation, it was $10 million setup cost, $5 million to each council. How can we do it for 4.8 demerge?
Well, I think,
You can
clarify?
certainly, thank you.
I think
Councillor Rose.
a lot of those funds that came into the original merge were just sweeteners. And a lot of them were things like this table.
That is true.
The wall in the general manager's office, all the revamp of the whole building here, all these things, and they're still here. They don't need to be changed. They are there. And also a large proportion of that was redundancies. Very, very generous redundancies, I might say as well. So a lot of that money, that doesn't need to be spent. The
Councillors,
other thing I'd say
yeah.
is, I don't think you're going to get a definitive answer until the 12th of May 2026, because that's when the 10 years are up.
so councillors, the actual recommendations is to note the report and note the submission made on that. I do want to say that to everyone that the pre-poll opens on Saturday. It'll go through all of next week. The main election day is the 29th of November. I spoke to the Premier yesterday. He's urging everyone to vote. He did not have an opinion which way. He wants it to be very democratic and to be the voice of Snowy Valleys Council. So please pass on to everyone. The most important thing is to vote. Councillor Sheldon, you happy if we close the debate on noting the?
Yep.
Okay, all those in favour? Unanimous.
No,
I beg your pardon. Didn't see your lack of hand.
I'm taking councillor Inglis's line. I abstain.
You abstain. Councillor Thompson, Packard, Hayes, Larter, Inglis, Hardwick, Works, Ham. Against Sheldon. Thank you. Thank you. 10.3, attendance of the Regions Rising National Summit. Do I have a mover? Councillor Sheldon. Seconder, Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Sheldon.
Dynamic report.
If you say so
And
yourself.
look,
With photos.
I was actually that impressed with them. I am going to recommend next year because I believe they can assist Snowy Valleys if we become members, especially where they're heading into. They believe strongly that regional Australia and rural Australia deserves 40% representation when decisions are made at a federal level. And they're building up, they're heading towards some real issues, some real promotional and case studies in regional productivity and regional rural population growth. So I can't see where Snowy Valleys could go wrong by looking at having a membership with them and using them as a tool for the better of Snowy Valleys.
Councillor Sheldon, thanks for taking the time to go to this and putting the report together. Any other councillors want to make a comment?
I enjoyed the enthusiastic prose in the report.
As we all did. Thank you, Councillor Hayes. Councillor Hardwick.
Yeah, I'd just like to speak to the report. I attended alongside Councillor Sheldon, and it was a fantastic event, and I highly recommend it. The networking and the people that you connect with as a councillor is fantastic. So, and the information that was given during this summit was awesome.
And to you, thank you very much for making the time to attend. Okay, if there's no other debate or questions, councillors, all those in favour to the report? So unanimous. Yeah, 10.4, draft interim annual report. Now we have 4 recommendations there. I think there may be an amendment to one.
I can put my hand up to move it.
Yeah, Councillor Sheldon.
All right, I'd like to move the report, but I would like to replace item number 1 for endorse the annual report subject to the deferral and receipt of the audited financial statements, including the capital works section. Because there's a lot of tidying up that needs to be done in there.
Yes, and to me, that would be from pages 70 to 75 redacted and 115 to 122 taken out. Okay, with those amendments, do I have a seconder? Councillor Thompson.
Number 4 and 2.
Oh, and take out number 4, sorry,
Yeah.
because there are significant changes or upgrades.
So you're happy with that up on the board? Councillor Thompson, happy to
Yes, thank you.
second that? Would you like to speak to anything, Councillor Sheldon?
No, look, I think the report overall is very good, but there are anomalies in there that need upgrading, especially on the financial side and even finishing financial statements, and also the capital works going back through and looking at, because there are some blatant things that need to be tidied up in there.
Yeah, I'd just like to speak to the annual report where how much can be done in 12 months and congratulate the staff for what they have improved. And Councillor Sheldon, before you said, oh, we're just not getting anywhere. You read through the annual report and we actually have got through quite a lot. We all want to get through more, but we realise that the staff, there's a lot of positions not filled at the moment and we're still getting through things. So I just want to pass on the personal congratulations to you, Acting General Manager, executive staff and all the staff for the work you've done the last 12 months.
Great.
Councillor Thompson.
Just going back to the finances, I think it's worthy to note, because people who aren't actually reading the whole report and just listening to this, to acknowledge that the auditors actually did request an extension, which is why some of that some of that work hasn't been included in here. So that's not through Snowy Valleys Council, that is actually the auditors who have requested that extension, so it wasn't our staff. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to the annual report? Councillor Hayes.
There are a few issues that I have highlighted already and
Yes.
as through to staff. Hopefully they'll be addressed. Just in the GIPPers, there was 5 GIPPers, and I just wondered, is there anywhere where what the income is from?
From Gippery.
What the GIPPer costs? What income we get from GIPPers, just for those people who have put their hard-earned money out there to find out what's happening?
Yeah.
How much
Yeah.
have we?
Acting General Manager or through the
I'll have to
CFO?
check the actual, Madam Mayor, but from memory, I think in our budget, we allow around $1,000, only like $1,000
right.
per year.
You suggest that you might get $1,000 in income.
in income?
Yep.
Okay.
That's you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And the other one was the airport. There's been a lot of advances made in the airport. What's the ETA for planes landing at the airport?
Through you, Madam Mayor, all going well, will be reopened at the airport at the latest by the 22nd of December, Monday, the 22nd of December.
And is there any chance of that being earlier?
Yes, there is. Yeah. Yep. So final sealing
would be
works
well
will finish
received.
today. But we still have line marking and lighting to do. But yes, there's unfortunately weather forecast for the next 2 weeks, but we've been able to get a fair amount of
We
work
had
done.
months of drought.
Yeah.
Months of drought, but months of cold weather, which means we can't do sealing.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
And how is it out there?
Looking good, yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations. Any other comments on the annual report? Yeah, well, I just commend it for people to actually read through and see what a local government actually can achieve. Okay, councillor Sheldon, you're happy to, yep, all those in favour? Unanimous. 10.5, Audit Improvement Committee Annual Report, moved by councillor Packard, seconded by councillor Sheldon. Councillor Packard.
No, I don't think there's much to be said. It's, I have to say, it's a fascinating thing to sit on the ARIC and just see the areas that they cover. And I just also noting that the delay in the financial figures, I asked specifically at the last ARIC meeting, were we out of step with other councils? And they said it's surprisingly common how often they need to be delayed, and it's not council's fault. It was the fault of a range of external factors that caused it, not ours.
Thank you.
That's-
Okay. No other debate? Yes, councillor Sheldon?
Yes, it was discussed at a council meeting that we would invite the chair of ARIC to come and talk to us and do a presentation. Wondering where that is up to.
With the acting general manager next week.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that will be at the next councillor workshop, which is next week.
Workshop or meeting,
Workshop.
probably the interest to most councillors.
Councillor Larter.
Could we possibly ask the Audit and Risk Committee to provide council with a report on what they think about council making decisions with going through the committees for advice or decisions to make?
Certainly. Councillor Packard, would you be able to bring that up to the,
Yeah, well, I can bring things up. I can't vote.
no, but you can say it's a
Yeah.
concern. Yep, okay. Thank you, councillor Larter. Okay, councillor Packard, you happy to close?
Yeah.
Yep, all those in favour? Unanimous. Statement of investments, October 2025.
Was there a?
Yep.
10.6.
Sorry, the pecuniary interest.
I'll move that.
Moved by councillor Hayes, seconded by councillor Packard. Any comments? All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Going now to statements of investments. And thank you to the councillors who updated me. Statements of investments moved by councillor Sheldon, seconded by councillor Wirtz. Councillor Sheldon, do you want to speak to it?
No questions.
No questions? Goodness. Anyone else want to make a comment? Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We get a seconder? Yeah.
Yep, councillor Works.
Madam Mayor, on page 55, I think it's really worth noting for the community and the wider, when people talk about where does council's money go and how are we spending it and are we spending it wisely, you go onto page 55 and it actually outlines there where some of the funds are going. And it's really important for people to understand that per quarter, Snowy Valleys Council contributes $200,000 to the emergency services levy, and that comes out of our general rates. That's not something that we have a special little reserve for, or that we can take it from the waste and water. So people need to understand that, there are built-in costs for the same as we have in our own home budgets. It's just general day-to-day running costs. And if people just have a look at some of the things that we're having to contribute to that don't necessarily build a road or put infrastructure in, I think it would do them good to have a look through there sometime. Thank you.
Any other comments? Councillor Sheldon, you're happy to close?
Yes.
All those in favour? Unanimous. Was that Councillor Inglis, you're happy to? Yep, thank you. Now, councillors, there was a late report. If we could go to that at the moment, which is the quarterly budget review, to be moved by Councillor Sheldon. I'll just give you, has everyone got it? Is everyone happy? Move on it. That's to receive and adopt the quarterly budget review and adopt the revenue, expenditure and capital budget adjustments as noted in the 30th of September quarterly budget review. So just give everyone half tick to pull it up. Councillor Sheldon, do you want to get started?
I have a number of questions if I can.
I need a second. I beg your pardon. Councillor Works. Thank you. Yes,
I
please.
have a number of questions. I think I would go through the annual acting general manager to the CFO. If I may, the 6.82, is it $8 million mentioned in here? Is it restricted or unallocated? Thank you very much. Cash position at present time,
As of today,
as of the report.
as of the report, yes, so the cash position is on page number,
Very hard to read some of these graphs, so excuse me if I'm going blind.
no.
It is, they are hard to read, aren't they?
Like,
Yeah,
Like really hard. It's the blue, sorry.
no, sorry, I was just adding in, it was a new QBR reporting, yeah,
Matrix.
by the OLG. so
Page 17.
Adopted that,
It's worse if you're colourblind, I can tell you.
No, well, it would be.
they
Page 17.
page
17.
17, yeah.
Yep.
So it essentially is a total of $66 million, and then that's broken down into restricted and the unrestricted cash categories and internally allocated cash.
I can't read any of this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the operating grants and the contributions we're given, are you concerned about those amounts?
In what way?
If they're enough, like last year, I highlighted it the first time, and
we be worried?
timing was used as a reason, but when we got to the end of the year, our deficit increased quite considerably. And our figures were altered quite considerably to what we're expecting.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, so because this is the first QBR, we haven't had a lot of adjustments go through this quarterly reporting. But yes, agree that there would be a few adjustments that will be going through in the future QBRs, and also the reserve movements that will impact the cash balances as well, which is straight with the operating and the capital grants.
Yes, because there is a concern over the $3.6 million on the depreciation.
That's the addition.
Yeah, additional cost. Basically, you're the CFO. What is our position? How are we in a solid position? Yes or no financially? Looking at this, because I do have some concerns.
Through you, Madam Mayor, given the first QBR, The numbers are looking positive. We don't have, so we budgeted for a deficit of $3.1 million deficit for 25-26 budget, and one we have 800K surplus. Now, as I mentioned before, that there will be quite a few adjustments that will be completed throughout the year. Also, the finance team, given they have been busy with the financial statements completion, a lot of the end of month journals and end of month tasks will be completed in the upcoming QBR. So, which will change a lot of the numbers.
All right, and I notice in the restricted funds, we have two separate funds for one for water and one for sewage or waste. Correct?
Correct.
Why are they pulled together in the investments?
We don't, through the mayor, we don't have separate investments or term deposits or any account for the restricted cash balances for water and sewer. But we have a investment portfolio, which essentially gives us a total investment balance.
But, you know, if we're looking at it, water and for sewer being two, should they be easily identifiable, or are they easily identifiable?
Through you, Madam Mayor, no.
Should that be
Is that-
identifiable in our accounts?
In the accounts,
in
but
the-
not
Not
in the cash.
necessarily in the
Not
bank.
in the cash, yes.
No, that's what I mean. Should they be?
No, so council makes sure we have enough cash available for those restricted funds, so that's monitored.
Could I just ask about the,
I was going to
The-
thank,
I beg your pardon?
I was going to thank the CFO.
The thank you's been passed on. The Transgrid Road maintenance funding of $300,000. So is that just the Transgrid just for the Elliott Way? Have we started with HumeLink West? I know they've signed an agreement. Has that started coming through? The finances there?
I believe it's for you, Madam Mayor, I believe it's in the report. $51,000 has been reported as from Link West in the quarter. So yes, it has, and that is $300,000 is for the Elliott Way
For the
Transgrid agreement.
agreement. And how are we going with HumeLink East?
Well done, last.
Still
Still
pending.
pending, yeah.
Yes.
That's right. Maybe that's what we can work on.
Yeah.
Any other comments on the QBR? No? Yes, councillor Works?
I just want to point out where it says you're going to have a surplus of 800,000 compared to a $3 million deficit. That was, thought that'd be a positive thing to.
I think it's a very good question. To the
Early days.
we all get excited in the first QBR.
Statement.
You don't have to read too much into it.
That's the word.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, we have had higher revenue that we had included in the QBR1, like Ramsdown Road project, $2.8 million. And especially it's relating to the grant funding, those income increases. Expenses are essentially employees' expenses related, but the depreciation cost increased. What is not in the report, which I mentioned before, was when the finance team basically goes through end of month process, there will be few things. So we have had roads to recovery money that we have spent last year, but we haven't received. So that's incoming cash that haven't recorded. So that's an additional revenue on top of what we're reporting now. It is the same with the LRCR, Local Roads Infrastructure Program as well, which essentially comes to $1 million as well. So that's the additional revenue that we haven't reported in this QBR. But yeah, will be reported in QBR too.
But have we been spending that money as if we've got it?
Spent in
Spent
24-25 financial
Yeah,
year.
right. Yep.
Yeah, so it's
Mate,
no
yeah.
expense, but yeah.
Yep.
income.
Having a good year this year at the expense of last
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes the financial statements look better.
We have a toilet break.
year.
Councillor Sheldon, you're always welcome to leave the room. Okay,
Things I mean.
speaking, Councillor Sheldon, you happy to close?
Yes.
Right. All those in favour? Unanimous. Which brings us to 11.1, removal of a plane tree outside the Middle Hotel at Long. Councillors, remember this came as a matter of urgency last meeting. And now there's, thank you for getting that together so quickly, Director of Infrastructure. And we've got 3 recommendations there. Do I have a mover? Councillor Hayes, seconded by Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Hayes.
Look, I'd like to thank the author of the report and for coming out and talking to people out there. It's a good start. It's a good start, but we really do need something. Number 3 says investigate measures to repair the curb and gutter outside the Middle Hotel that have been impacted by tree roots. The original motion asked for the whole street to be looked at, and that was that got lost somewhere. But the whole street is an issue. It's not just the Middle Hotel. So there's the roots are impacting in the same way all up and down the main street as they are outside the Middle Hotel. So it's not just one spot there. So if we go out to investigate the measures to repair the curb and gutter, can we do it for the whole street, not just the Middle Hotel?
Any other discussion, councillors? Councillor Sheldon?
I just think agenda item number 2 is very important, that it all should be looked at in the main street master plan, because going from pillar to post whenever we feel like it's going to create extra cost, it should all be consolidated and all done at the one time under the master plan.
So Councillor Hayes, should we, point 3, should we change that to curb and gutter throughout along the main street?
I think that'd be good.
It needs to be a
Happy to
comprehensive.
change, happy to do that.
Yeah,
It needs to be a
It is in the
comprehensive
original
plan, I agree.
request, so.
Not piecemeal.
Well,
Thank you, Councillor Inglis.
point out that we're successful in $1 million worth of funding, and $202,000 of that goes towards this master plan. And I just hope it gets finalised soon.
Councillor Hardwick, you're happy with those changes?
I'm happy.
Can I just see clarify, but isn't that what the Adlong Main Street upgrade design project would include? Would that not include that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, that's correct. It would include that, but I'm happy to be added in
Okay.
because it's as per the original urgent notice.
Yeah.
It's been investigated.
Councillor Sheldon?
I'd like to seek clarification, Madam Mayor. Is the funding or the grant funding that everyone's talking about part of the money that was alluded to at the last Adelong Forum got spent in Tumbarumba, taken out of this plan and redirected to Tumbarumba?
To the acting general manager?
Just to clarify, are you talking about the $1 million
Yes.
grant funding?
Yes.
Well, Councillor Hayes is the one that brought it up. He might be able to assist us.
I will, if you like.
Yeah, there was about 5 or 6 projects in that. I'll have to remind myself exactly what they were. Most of them were for Adelong. One was for Tumbarumba to fix the footpath along the creek. Sorry, does that answer your question?
It does. It's just that it was alluded to that, and I don't think I'm the only one here, that it was this council that transferred the money to Tumbarumba, which shocked me.
So there
No,
was.
that was never.
No, that was part of the
That's why I'm seeking clarification.
Yeah.
So there was, so there was 28,000 for the Adelong flood study review, 117,000 for the Adelong Creek riparian works, 202 for the Adelong Main Street design, which is being done at the moment. Tumber Creek footpath upgrade of 138, that's what I mentioned previously, and community recovery event for 15,000. That's what that 1 mil was broken up into.
Councillor Lada?
Can I just ask whether we have any policy in relation to profit from works that we undertake from grants? So for instance, if there was $1 million from a grant to upgrade the main street in Adelong and we made a profit on that as the council actually doing the works as opposed to externally doing it, how are those funds obviously just go back into general revenue, but is there, can we create a policy similar with the development situation where those funds are sidelined for projects in keeping with the grant? in the location?
So if council was to undertake a grant funded project, that income does come back to council via fees and charges, it's my understanding. And then it goes back into reserves. Sorry, what was the second part of your question? How it relates? to
I'm just
development?
wondering whether, when we're on the board at Snowy Works and Services, we would obviously undertake private works and we would see there was a component of profit
Yes,
above the cost.
Yeah.
So obviously, in relation to us undertaking works as part of tendering for projects like the airport, there's likely profit in there that is now going somewhere, but I'm wondering whether we can do something similar to what we do with the development situation and highlight those funds for similar projects so that they're not being diverted away from where they were initially intended.
So if you made $20,000 from doing up the main street, of Adelaide, that money would have to be spent in Adelaide,
In the main street.
in the main street.
Can I seek clarification? Now, council cannot make a profit on the works they do for council, can they? We can charge
in a
an
contract.
overhead.
Yeah.
correct. So private works is different.
Right.
So they're like any commercial arm, and there
Right.
should be a profit, and all of those projects are tracked, to make sure there is a profit. But usually for grant funded projects, there is, and it's usually stated what the overhead must be on that project as well, but, so.
I don't want to be a wet blanket, but what on relevance does this have to the motion?
Probably not much. Okay, so coming back to the actual, councillor Hayes, those, three recommendations there, do you want to close debate on that?
Yes, look, once again, thanks for the report. I'm sure that there'll be people in Adelong very happy to see something done. Look forward to the $202,000 plan. Note that there is federal government funding for this once we get the plan going, but we will have to make a contribution. I know that Wagga City Council and Narandra have just been funded for their projects, Narandra specifically, similar sort of project. So I hope that can be done and we can just alleviate the issues that they're in the main street.
Thank you. Okay, three recommendations, all those in favour? Unanimous. You on to 11.2, SBC asset management plans going out on public exhibition. Recommendation there of 3, councillor Sheldon, seconded by councillor Packer. Councillor Sheldon.
No, I just hope everyone reads them all because they're pretty.
It's big.
They're big and look, the workshop was invaluable. It's a pity we didn't have all of it. We didn't have more time to do it. I would like to, as I've always said, funding spreadsheets, they're vitally important to go through and understand the total costings and everything involved in this asset management plan.
And I'd also recommend to the public to actually have a
Yes.
look at it because a lot of it's very pertinent to exactly where they live. Councillor Packer.
Look, I was going to say pretty much the same thing, that for me as a councillor, I found these some of the most valuable documents
Yes.
I've seen in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
And I commend the staff for getting them done and for having the workshop to clarify for us how they relate and how they interrelate. I think they're going to be incredibly valuable documents to build on going forward. Unfortunately, of course, if we demerge, then they're going to have.
Well, the information's here.
But they'll still
They
have to be
need
teased apart.
Yeah,
So there'll be
Yeah.
another body of work to go with them.
the
But yeah,
transition officer.
it'll certainly make that process easier too, having
Yeah.
done these. So I really found it a very interesting exercise.
Councillor Hayes.
I do have some concerns. I'm worried about the state of our roads, particularly given that we've worked so hard to get them to the state that they're in. They're in a remarkable state. And after the fires and the floods, we had that process of Build Back Better, which we did. It's increased their obviously increased their value. So but I just don't want to see them fall away. I'd like to see our reseal program continue. And hopefully the extra traffic that we get from Transgrid won't impact too much on our roads. And once again, when they go, it should be better than when they came. And I think that's an expectation that the whole community in this council should have. I'm encouraged to see that the Grahamstown Road is in there and will be done. And I'd like to hope that, you know, there'll be more work done on Main Road 85 as well. So I think that's a bit of an issue for
I
us.
think it's been a source of pride of all of us, the conditions of the road, particularly when some other councils you go into, it's quite noted how good our roads are.
Yes.
Councillor Thompson.
Without sounding like a wet blanket, I think we just need to be mindful that while we've done so well in the roads, that sometimes comes at a cost.
Definitely comes at a cost.
To some of the other, but it comes at a cost to some of the other infrastructure that we have. And that's where we need to find the balance. And we need to find the balance not only between the roads and services, but also across each of the communities in the Snowy Valleys.
I have a funny feeling the Director of Infrastructure and Works might agree with you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Look, I would disagree. I think that it's come as a result of very, very sustained and careful lobbying, and that most of the improvements to our road and roading infrastructure has come from grants that we were able to get post fires and floods. So I think we've been very strategic in that way, and I think that we've the crews that look after them and the people that apply for those fundings, I think we've done really, really well. And I think as a council, really, really positive about that and encourage more of that that's the sort of behaviour we want from staff. We want them to be proud of what they do, and we want them to work hard at what they do.
And also, can we just commend Softwood's working group that
as well
the roads in our community? Councillor Sheldon.
Well, look, I think Councillor Hayes is right about our roads, and I think Councillor Thompson is also, because as the Director Mitchell brought up at the workshops, what is becoming a concern, our asset management, are our buildings.
Yep.
And I think we've really got to have a look at that and things like that to build them up also.
Some of these buildings very close to us.
We're at the airport.
But look at Orney Hall. Look at all that infrastructure it's all new. It's all chic. You'll see they're number ones in that document.
Well, it's brand new.
They're brand new.
The exception doesn't.
What was it? $1.4 million
exception,
for Orley Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, councillors,
buildings.
let's keep on topic.
Boys Club.
Councillor Sheldon, you happy to close debate?
Yes.
Oh, Councillor Wood, I beg your pardon.
Oh, I just wanted to make I was speaking for the report just then about the Old Town Bridge. I was there, one of the start of the comments about disposal and the cost of 2.3 million. I think the fact that it's on the advocacy plan, to develop that into a pedestrian crossing might be
It's a lot cheaper than 2 point.
a lot cheaper. I
Yep.
think a couple $100,000. So I
Yeah,
just thought I'd make
it's a bargain.
Mm.
Yeah.
That in, eh?
Packard's. Okay. All those in favour?
That's fine.
Unanimous. 11.3, request for road closure and sale of lot 6 DP 25593953 off Snorri Mountains Highway, moved by councillor Packard, seconded by councillor Hardwick. Councillor Packard.
I guess one can interrogate these things endlessly, but if we have the ability to sell land and that we're not using, and make some money back out of it, then I think it's something should be continuing to do. And if someone's got an idea to do something with it, then it's something. It's just that we should be going ahead with.
Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favour? Carried, unanimous. Okay, and then we're on to 11.4, Woolpack Hotel Car Park Lease, Lot 34, DP 108-381, Public Car Park. So do I have someone move that?
I suppose since I was the one
Back in the day.
Set the lease up in the first place. Oh, no, you have to-
So councillor Hayes, councillor Packard? Councillor Hayes?
Look, I've been a great advocate of getting more parking in Tumut for a long time, and when we were merged, we had $1.7 million to buy car park land, which we didn't do. We, for some reason, we spent it in pavers. But we have 3 different car park strategies for Tumut. Every time a new suggestion to buy or to change our car parks comes up, we get a new strategy. And we've got 3 of them. And they all say we've got adequate parking. It's just that I can't find that parking when I'm looking for one. But so anyhow, I'll move the motion and we'll go from there.
Thank you, councillor Packard.
As I said, I was the seconder to the motion that 20 years ago or so leased this car park, and my recollection is that we did it as an interim measure while council developed other car parks, which has been done. A big car park behind Services New South Wales. So it surprised me when I saw this and I realised that we were still leasing it. So it would seem to me we don't lease car parks from any of the other pubs in town or in other towns, so that it seemed to be an anomaly which needs to be cleaned up and a saving.
Any other comments?
It's really interesting. I actually drove down, had a look, went down into the Fuller Street car park area as well. I think part of the issue in our area in Snowy Valleys Council is that everybody wants to park directly out the front of their own or out the front of a business, including for the people who work in the business. And part of what I think we need to do is that years ago, the car park in Fuller Street actually had shade shelters and got taken out with the hail one year. But I think what we need to do is to actually develop a much better access from the Fuller Street car park into the main street. And we need to be encouraging people to actually park off the main street, leave the main street for people who aren't as mobile as others. So while we say we can't find a car park, it's probably because we're looking directly out the front, or the one that is always full is the one down behind the connection in that area. There's never anything there. But Fuller Street was almost empty, the car park out the back.
Yeah.
So we just need to do something with it, give it a bit of love, make it more inviting and create that access into, but I don't see why we're paying lease fees for a parking area.
Councillor Works.
An idea of leading what you said, perhaps with that. I just remember from a motion a few months ago in regards to shades sales over parkland. Perhaps we could put shade sales over the car park, like you say, down in the Fuller Street car park that's underutilised, and people would be more likely to park there, given that the car won't be 45 degrees when they.
On to the advocacy plan.
Or during the budget process.
Yeah. Councillor Hardwick.
Madam Mayor, I just want to make comment that social media did go off a little bit with this, and a little bit of misinformation was spread that a lot of car parks will be lost and council's going to be making money somehow. It's just a matter of saving money that's unnecessarily being spent.
And the car park's still going to be there.
And it's still going to be there.
Yep. Great. Okay, councillor Hayes, you happy if we close debate there?
Yes.
All those in favour? Unanimous. Brings us for the request. No. It brings us to 11.5. Community radio station to BR, Sounds of the Mountains, FM 96.3, variation of the lease. Councillor Packard's left the room. There are 5 recommendations there. Do I have a mover? Councillor Sheldon, seconder. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Sheldon.
Look, I think councillor Hayes actually raised something earlier on. And I do agree that they've really had it for a song for quite some time. That we should look at CPI on the radio station or something like that. But I have another question, the condition of that building. You know, because from what I understand, a lot of money's been spent on it for electricals and other things within it or needs to be spent. I'm just wondering about asbestos and things like that in there. What sort of upgrades does that building need for a start? Because you hear whispers all the way around the place about, you know, it's probably a good example of a building that is in desperate need of money spent on it.
Through you,
It's sort of
Madam
like on
Mayor.
topic, I suppose.
I think maybe, councillor Sheldon, as you're aware, the building is currently getting a bit of an upgrade, the other side of the building for country universities. The part of the upgrade there is to do up the toilets outside, which I think will benefit the radio station area along with the other tenants that we have in that building.
They've just put their own toilet in.
Yeah.
The-
we've already
They-
done upgrades.
They've made a disabled access, full access inside toilet facility. So this is where I don't think people realise the extent of,
Yeah.
it's almost,
The work.
it's around
It's been a lot of
$200,000 worth of
Capital improvement.
capital improvements that's been done without a cent of council input.
Yeah, but what sort of condition is the building internally for the radio station at the moment, I suppose,
Right.
is my question.
And they're
Is it up to scratch?
Yep.
Okay,
Councillor Inglis,
Clarification. What is meant by pro bono cost of 10,000? Pro bono
Free.
means free of charge.
that's correct.
Quid pro quo.
Yep. So it comes in advertising.
It's
Okay.
not,
Well, pro bono is not
it's not,
the appropriate word.
it's inappropriate. It's not a malapropism, it's something else.
It's, yeah.
Subsidised cost or something.
No, there
Not
is a
pro
term
bono.
for it. There is a term.
Sort of like
Well,
in exchange.
advertising.
In exchange for free advertising.
Well, that's not pro bono. Yeah, whatever it is, if it
Yeah,
could be tight.
pro bono's. Pro bono is what you like to do, councillor Inglis.
Oh, all the time.
We can remove that wording if you like. from-
And, yes,
Just tighten
Very
it up.
fast.
yeah.
yeah,
Just,
in exchange.
And
The exchange.
here as well.
Subsidised.
Just remove it.
I mightn't be quite as altruistic, but anyhow, I just think, and look, I was involved in the startup of the radio station and very proud of what it's been able to achieve. Started in 2003 with a lease of $10,000 for, you know, as I said, you know, they'd give us $10,000 worth of airtime or whatever. So we would be able to, as a council, go over there and use their facilities to get out the good news.
Mm.
Sometimes some bad news, but mostly good news. So that was $10,000 then. What I think it should reflect is it should reflect the fact that since 2003, things have gone up.
Mm.
So what I'd like to see is a lease that's based on the $10,000 in 2003, the CPI since then, which would probably be maybe $17,000 a year or whatever. I don't know. I'm not just doing that mentally. And then leave it at that, but add the CPI every year. And I'm sure that the cost of their airtime has gone up accordingly.
Absolutely.
So basically,
We need to value their service.
yeah, we need to value their service, and they need
Yeah.
to value the you know, the
Yeah.
cost of the facility that they're getting. So I just think it should reflect that, and I just, you know, it should be a more realistic costing. But I'm not saying that we demand it. I'm saying that we get the same as what we're getting now. But the figure is there, so we know what.
So we've got a $10,000 per annum there. Are you thinking of changing it to 15 or 17 plus CPI?
Well, you can actually get online what $10,000 is worth.
Yes.
I'm not sure somebody can do that. while we do.
$17,607.39.
Thanks.
Are you happy to round that to 17,000, councillor Hayes?
17,000.
Could that be, sorry, I can't see, you moved it, and who were the mover and seconders on that?
Sheldon Thompson.
Sheldon, councillor Sheldon and Thompson, are you happy with that to be changed to 17,000 plus CPI?
As long as
I
it
can see you,
as long as
councillor.
it continues to be that there's not going to be an expectation of money exchanging hands, because part of
We
the,
don't have it.
That's not my intent.
no,
no,
but what
no.
I'm saying is, let's be really honest, part of our community strategic plan, when you look at what the radio station provides, every school has the opportunity to do school news. Every community has the opportunity to have free advertising. They promote anything that is going on across the Snowy Valleys. They reached out to Tumbarumba because their community radio was struggling. So what Sounds of the Mountains and Dave Eisenhower truly provide is much more than a few advertising, and even with all of the Electoral Commission and the demerger stuff, people go in there all the time to actually tell the community what's happening within their community.
Yeah.
Every school has a voice. Every community organisation has a voice. So as long as there is no expectation that you expect the radio station to now financially pay council because they are looking after a building that we haven't got the money to look after.
And in fact, Dave, we know you're listening, but this is a one way of saying just how much we really value what you do, the whole of your team. And we want that reflected in the, it's probably still a bargain, but we want that reflected in this recommendations. Councillor Larter.
Well, look, I was going to say that I think it's, once again, where we're not getting the whole picture here, because, you know, we've got arrangements with the Montreal Theatre, who are the parent company of this. Now, you know, we should be looking at all that in context of what we're giving out here. Or, so, you know, I'm of the opinion that the community radio station shouldn't be paying anything, but maybe the Montreal Theatre should be paying more because of the service, you know, to the community with the emergency announcements. With so, I mean, how much are we funding the Montreal Theatre from council with insurance and all the other stuff?
Again, I don't know that that's part of this report.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
think
why
we've
it
got a
should be
big,
part of the report.
but yeah, shall we bring that in another report, councillor?
Well, yeah, I'm happy to have it in another report, but I
When
think
that
you shouldn't be.
lease is up, we can have a-
Yeah.
I mean, they probably find it very difficult to find $17,000.
You can run
They're not
it.
giving.
They're not giving it to
That's
us.
in airtime.
They're giving, so like we get all our ads for $17,000.
Yeah, well.
Correct
Okay.
terms, contra.
To what?
In media, it's contra.
Contract.
Pay one,
Yeah.
you get one for the other.
Okay.
Contra is the term.
Councillor Sheldon, I think it's you.
Yeah.
Are you happy to close debate?
Yep.
All those in favour? Unanimous. Could someone get councillor Packard?
You're younger than I.
Okay, 11.6 leasing transaction report for the first quarter. So that's from the 1st of July to the 30th of September. You have a report there of the lease. So that's just to note the report, but while we're noting the report, you might note what the leases are. Do I have a mover? Councillor Thompson, seconded. Councillor Sheldon, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's, and I need to be very careful because the report is in open council and a lot of the issues of concern that I have are actually in the confidential attachment
Yes.
in the back. But, you know,
Should we move into confidential?
no, because I'll just won't mention specifics. Just saying. The thing that concerns me when you go through the report is that, you know, Councillor Larter's just talked about one example and then we have other examples, but we have fully commercial enterprises that are getting an enormous handout from council. And I think going forward, we need to be far more astute in the things that we are looking at. What is the benefit to our community? And I understand the one that I'm referring to at one point was something that the community identified as needing. But we just need to be so careful that we don't hand infrastructure that we have created, as in a council, and just hand it over to others to generate an enormous amount of money out of. So.
Yep.
I don't know whether anyone else has issues that they want to refer to or raise.
Any other discussion, councillors?
I just think we've got to tighten up our collection.
Our collection, yep,
Yeah.
agreed. Okay, councillors, all those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Councillors, we will now move to the minutes. 4.1, minutes of the Avalon Flood Risk Management Committee, which was held on the 14th of October, and just the one recommendation there.
Yeah, move.
Moved by councillor Hayes, seconded by councillor Thompson. Councillor Hayes?
A good meeting and a good start, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Any more discussion? All those in favour? Okay, and then 12.2 minutes, Youth Council Committee on the 9th of October. One recommendation there. Do I have a mover? Councillor Wirtz? Councillor Hardwick, Councillor Wirtz?
Yeah, I'd just like to say we're still working on building up the members of the youth council, trying to promote the youth council so we can get more people involved and hopefully put on more events for the youth of the community. They've got an event that they're planning for next year.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a prom night. They're trying to organise that at the club. So that'll be hopefully that's a well supported event. They get a lot of people for that. So yeah, always open for any ideas and any young people want to join the youth council.
And
Yeah.
how are all the towns working together with?
It'd be good to see some more involvement from the southern side of the Shire. I know that Tumbarumba has their own groups up there, so it'd be good to get perhaps a meeting somewhere in the middle, maybe in Batlow, and try and collaborate with all the different groups. I know there's a Batlow youth group that's just starting up as
Okay.
well, so I heard that. So yeah, trying to incorporate everyone from all across the
Council area.
council area.
Councillor Hardwick.
Yeah, I've been approached to speak to Chimney High School as former student, to the year 11 students going into their final year, and I'll be pressing the importance of the youth committee there as well, and encouraging those to join, just to get more involvement
Thank
across the
you.
board.
Yeah, thank you for that. So important to see alumni like you go back. Great. Any other comments, councillors? You're happy to close?
Yep.
All those in favour? Done. Thank you, councillors. We're going to go into confidential now. And this is where councillors participate in media remotely or by audio visual link. I don't think we need to read that because there is no one.
I'll move that we're going to confidential, Madam Mayor.
Okay, moved by councillor Thompson, seconded by councillor Hardwick.
I'm just.
Considering this came up in the first meeting of the year.
Okay, now if anyone needs to stand up.